Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening to you guys. Good evening, good evening, good evening to you guys. We are live today. We're going to be having such an amazing a discussion with an interesting gentleman that has been back in the property space. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. If you've just joined us, a very warm welcome to you. And thank you very much for joining us this particular evening. How was your day? Just let me know. How was your day? Let me know in the comment section there while we're waiting for our brother to join us this particular evening. Let me actually take out these. We're going to have such an amazing discussion this particular evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have such a lovely, chilled and very informative discussion with a gentleman called Teboho, Nthoana. So you'd want to follow him as well, ladies and gentlemen, because he is, if you don't know the gentleman that I'm about to have a conversation with this particular evening, I would say to you, you've been missing out, ladies and gentlemen. You have been missing out. So you'd want to do yourself some justice and have your make sure that you follow him. He is sharing a lot of information around property investment, property opportunities. Actually, more than I actually do. He shares more than I actually do. He has also has a YouTube channel that you can follow him and learn from there about opportunities that exist for you, that you can actually invest in and start participating in as well. So I see someone is saying, I had a great day. Thank you. I'm glad that you had a great day. I see Evelyn is saying, is it just me or is it your volume off? So my volume is just perfectly fine. And yes, I see they actually have responded to you there. A very good morning, good evening. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still very much energetic. I started my day at 5 o'clock, but it still feels like the day is still very, very young. Hey, so I am incredibly still energetic, and I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have with the gentleman here this particular with Teboho. So we are going to have an interesting conversation with invite him in so that we can have a conversation with him. Let's wait for him to join us. So let me know on the comment section below, where are you joining us from this particular evening. Good evening to you, my brother. How are you?
I'm good, and you, Lebza?
I'm extremely well. Thank you very much, man. How was your day?
No, no, it was quite busy. I was actually, I heard you said your day started at 5.
Yes.
Mine actually started at 3:30, so I actually had to rush back now, for our live, so that at least it finds me more relaxed.
3:30 a.m.
A.M.
Yeah. But I understand. But with me, I actually went to bed at 2 a.m. So, and I was up at 5.
Okay.
So I had to grab some nap there before I can start my day.
It's entrepreneurship, eh? It comes with a price, and sometimes I've realized this is the price that a lot of people are not willing to pay.
100%.
You know,
100%.
but yet want a certain level of results.
100%. I totally agree with you. I mean, it takes a lot for one to succeed in a journey of entrepreneurship. I think one of the reasons why most entrepreneurs or businesses fail within a short space of time is because people realize that they have to give up more than they are willing to give
True.
up. It's like they are realizing that they were or they had a misconception. Speaking about that,
Mm.
when it comes to you, what were some of the misconceptions that you had about entrepreneurship?
For me, I thought I'll become. Well, some of the misconception is it's thinking you'll make money overnight. And it's thinking people will jump to the opportunity of supporting you, but without really understanding, the difficulties that come with actually being in the space. And it's actually I think the biggest misconception was thinking my family and friends would
100%.
actually be there to support me. So yeah, no, it's
So
really not
how
an easy one, that one.
I can totally relate to that. How did you overcome, the struggle of, and also, just that mental shift from feeling entitled? Because there's a certain level of entitlement, thinking that your
Correct.
family and friends
Yeah.
are supposed to,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be your number one fan. They're supposed to be the ones that are helping you and supporting your business. And in reality, they are actually the last people that are actually supporting you, especially after they've seen other people supporting you and your business succeeding. Some will come back and support you. Some will never even support your business or even buy from your product or services that you're actually offering.
No, no, absolutely. I mean, let's make an example with you. How many friends or families do you have that support you? I mean, right now you're on the verge of raising capital. I mean, how many people have actually joined in to say we'll also contribute for you to be able to invest?
I think at this stage it's totally different, right? Because I've been running Biz House Capital, but Biz House for the past 5 years, almost 5 years
Yeah,
now. Since
yeah,
2017, I started Biz House, and I've been running Biz House from 2017. I think now because they've seen the success that came
yeah.
from the developments that I've done,
Okay.
and currently the portfolio that we have, and the
Mm,
level that we are now operating at. So it's totally different from where I started from. So now I
yeah,
have a quite a bit of a lot of friends coming back, and they want to put their money into my projects because they've
yeah.
seen that it
True.
has yielded fruits. As opposed to when
Mm,
I started, those are the people that I thought, I'm going to get capital from this one and this one and this one and that one. When I
yeah.
quit my job, I actually had a list of people I thought they're going to, fund my developments. And, when I calculated how much, verbally, when you're having an informal discussion with them to say, this is what I'm thinking to
Yeah.
do, this is how much it's going to cost. And they say, no, we
Correct.
willing, I'm going to give you, I can avail to you 500,000 rent, the other one 200,000, the other one 1.2. So when I calculated that, it came to close to about 20 million rents that people were saying, what, I'm willing to put in the money there. And these are people that were within my circle at the time. And guess what? None of those people actually invested in my property portfolio until now, recently, when now
Yeah.
success is visible to everyone to say, look, we now really believe when you say success is inevitable, we totally understand what you mean.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
only now
Yeah.
it's different.
No.
People are jumping in and jumping into the opportunity. But
Yeah.
while we're there, about opportunities, what are some of the opportunities that you currently have, that people can jump in, especially under young people, under the property investment space and investments as a whole, actually, that you have
Yeah,
on,
I
yeah.
yeah I think before we actually get into opportunities, I think
Mhm.
we've not gotten the introductions out of the way.
Oh,
So
yes.
I've got people that I've got people that follow me that don't know who you are,
And vice
and
versa.
I've seen
Yes.
some of the comments, and I've got people that know both of us,
Yes.
and obviously I'm sure you've got people that are following you that don't know me as well.
100%.
So at least I mean you've given a bit of background in terms of obviously you raising the capital in the space that you're in. I mean, you said you've been doing BizHub for about 5 years now.
Yes.
You know, so maybe I think you can maybe, since you're the one hosting us, you can maybe give us an overview first as to who Lebo is and maybe a bit of BizHub. Yeah.
All right. Just to summarize it and not to be lengthy in my introduction, I think my CV is now getting longer and longer by day. But in summary, I'm actually still under 30. And I am married. Those that were, not available.
Okay.
So I am married with one child. My son, he is just a year and 5 months old, and I hold 4 qualifications. Professionally, I'm a business accountant, and the highest qualification is an honors in taxation. And I only lasted 5 minutes in the corporate world, and I started this house in the year 2017. We exist to solve 2 problems. So the first problem that we are solving as Buzz House is the property accommodation space. So we are solving an accommodation space, in the, especially in the in and around townships, by bringing superior products closer to our townships at an affordable amount. So we're bringing the suburban product in the townships or around the township with the township price. So because affordability is the biggest issue in our country, if you read the stats, they will tell you that over 75% of the population of South Africa, they earn less than 15,000 rand per household. So telling you that, you know, more than over 3/4 of the population of South Africa, they can't really afford to stay in suburban areas.
True.
So meaning that decent, you know, accommodation is it's a true need, especially for the majority of our people. That's why we took it upon ourselves to say, let's bridge the gap. Let's bring these lifestyle living apartments in and around townships, and making sure that we our people can access decent accommodation that restores that dignity. That ensures that they have access to accommodation spaces that are comfortable, that are secured, but yet that they can afford to be able to access. So that's exactly what the number one reason why we exist. So we're bringing these amazing developments in the townships, and our occupation rate throughout the portfolio, it's sitting at 99.6%.
Nice.
For the past financial year. So that's exactly what we're looking at. And our tenants retention rate for the past financial year that ended last month, it's sitting at 96%. So that so these are tenants that are renewing their leases. So that means that you know, people are happy to stay in our developments. Those that leave, it's because of other reasons, not because of you know, the product itself, because it's in high demand. I mean, when we launch a new project, when we say, hi guys, we've just launched and come and view and sign up. I mean, within, we just completed one, you know, development, and when we then announced it to the public, when we listed to the public, we had over 10,000 inquiries for 8 units.
Nice.
That we actually had. So that tells you of the demand and the supply of this type of product that we're bringing into the market. So that's the first problem that we're solving. And then the second problem that we're solving as Biz House, we are breaking the barrier to entry into property investment market, particularly property development market. You know, as a property investor yourself, that property development is very quite capital intensive. You know, talking about the preparation of the development itself, it costs a couple of millions. You know, bulk services on itself, it costs a couple of millions, depending on the size of the land and how far those services are. You know, engineering costs, architectural fees, town planning, and we haven't even spoken about the land cost itself, let alone the development cost itself and the construction cost itself that comes with the development. So we are making sure that you know, the barrier is too high for most people, especially for us people of color. So we're making sure that you know, people can access these opportunities by not having to break the bank in order for them to access them. So what we've done is we've launched a private equity fund last year, November, on the 26th of November. Last year, we've launched a private equity fund. We have launched the prospectus, and the prospectus is unfortunately closing tomorrow. So those that will still want to access this opportunity, from as little as 5,000 rand, you can become a property investor in our portfolio by investing in our property private equity fund, and you are able to own shares in there from as little as 5,000 rand, and you become a property investor, and you get a share certificate in our private equity fund. And the performance of it, it's sitting at about 16%, estimated at about 16% per annum. So that's exactly what you're looking at. So we are creating opportunities for our people.
Investment duration?
The investment duration, the minimum period is about 3 years. And then from there, we're going to list the fund on the alternative stock exchange, where it becomes liquid. People can now trade it for whatever. If they want to buy more, they can buy more. If they want to sell their shares, they can do so as well.
Yes. No, I think I need to do the one interviewing you.
But you can do your intro on your side, because I mean, over and above just being a property investor myself, I'm a whole lot of other things. I'm a mentor. I am I mentor people. I educate people. I freely give information to the public as and when I can, because time is very limited. I'm a philanthropist as well. I do a lot of philanthropy work. And I'm a business coach. I'm a leader. I'm a whole lot of other things as well. I'm a father. I'm a husband. Very important. I'm a husband to one woman. Yes.
I like that, Lebo. I think more than anything, I must clap hands for you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate my brother.
For a 29-year-old, you're doing well.
Thank you.
You're doing very well. And more than anything, for a black brother, a lot of people tend to see, especially us in the same space, as competition, and we can never be competition. Instead, I say we actually complement each other.
100%.
So as professionals, so because some of the heavyweights in the space, they're my friends. Right now. This has happened through, obviously, one dear friend of mine, Tandega,
yes,
which she's quite heavy in her own right as well.
100%.
So,
and she's just joined us. Actually, she's clapping hands.
Yes, I see. Tandega, you don't want me to talk about you. You just joined immediately. So of which she's a dear friend and a dear sister of mine. So it's really something. It's things like these that for me you realize to say. It's important that we complement each other, and it's important that we don't see each other as competition. We could actually learn from each other. So for me, I said gone are the days that we used to see each other as competition. And it's very interesting. I always say when you go to certain business spaces, when you see white people, they start meeting each other and say, so what do you do, and the likes, and you guys are going to pitch for the same opportunity.
Yes.
And they know whichever one gets an opportunity, they're going to share. To say, no, it's fine, you'll do the infrastructure services, you'll do this, you'll do that. Whereas with us, we assess each other. I check out what you're driving, or you check out what I'm driving, and we see each other as competition.
100%.
My watch or your watch or things like that. And yes. For me, I think those things are very much unnecessary.
Yes.
That's why I always say everyone else is pushing an agenda. The Chinese are pushing the agenda. The Muslims are pushing the agenda. The Jews are pushing an agenda. What agenda are we pushing as black people?
100%.
And the sad part is that whoever that comes into power is going to make decisions for me and you, and we're going to need to follow. Do you
100%.
understand? So that's why right now for me it's important that I applaud you. It's important that I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So from an introduction point of view, many people know me as Teboho Mafodi. I've since changed my surname. I got married. I'm joking. But I've since changed my surname to Teboho Nthoana. I think it's mainly following my identity. and true identity. I always say you cannot know where you're going until you know where you come from.
100%.
So for the longest time, I've been running a private equity firm called TM Group. So, but I'm no longer running that equity fund, that firm since 2020 actually. I decided to, give up the ropes and become a student. So, so I've mainly been studying, trying to empower myself. I always say study and show yourself approved.
100%.
So, yeah, many would know and others wouldn't that I'm actually a high school dropout. I dropped out of grade 11. So the situation was quite bad at home and I needed to go work. So, and for me, it was something that I remember I bumped into an article recently that I did with Success Magazine in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, my dream is to become Dr. Mafodi one day. And it's interesting what sometimes you send out to the universe and not knowing that you'll actually live up to it. So
100%.
yeah, so I was actually doing my master's. I went back to school, empowered myself.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this guy has made so much money, he doesn't need to work anymore in his life.
So no, I didn't make so much money. I think I could use some more. So but yeah, I
Of
made I
course.
made I made my first million at 23 years of age.
Now, well done, man.
And
I'm one
yes,
of
and I started off
I'm one of the biggest friends of your work. As much as we are in
yeah,
the same space and doing the same thing, and
yeah,
we're successful at our own rights. But I mean, you've been in the space for quite a bit now, and you've
I
done
have.
something incredibly well for yourself. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following this guy, are you doing yourself injustice? You just have to go
yeah,
out and follow this guy and see his work. I'm sorry for interjecting, my
yeah.
brother. You can continue.
Yeah, no. I'm humbled, my brother. So yeah, so then got into obviously I started off in IT.
Mm-hmm.
So then from the when we sold our business, I signed a restriction of trade where I could no longer run it or be involved in the IT space because I could have easily started a business that would compete with my own business. Then that's
100%.
actually how I got into the property space. I've always been in property, but in my own personal capacity, I didn't consider it as a business. So
100%.
at the time, I took technology from Australia. I wanted to bring it within the African continent.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wanted to become the core brick of alternative building technology because I've always been fascinated by buildings. I love buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I mean, if even if you see our offices in Bryanston, beautiful building. So and now because of now the technology that we're building, it was new in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't adapt easily to change. So I remember, one time the one executive said to me to say it's beautiful technology, but now as Africans, studies has shown that we don't adapt easily to change. So now you're gonna need to teach people how to actually build using your technology. So that's
100%.
actually how I got to get into actually start off in the construction space.
Mm-hmm.
So then eventually property. So as compared to you doing obviously being a developer, I'm a developer, but mainly I build alternative building technologies, building or green buildings they would call it.
Yeah,
You go to the likes of Maboning.
yeah.
There's next to GP police station. There's a long big building they call drive lines. It's a container
Oh, yes, yes.
building.
The green one.
So it's 90. Yes, it's 96 units. 7 stories high. Called drive lines. I did that project. I've did a lot of exciting alternative building projects.
Hold on,
Um,
brother.
you
That's
know,
impressive.
Yes. So yeah. So currently we're sitting on a portfolio of just over 110 million worth of property. I mean, we look at you go to inner city building. There's a lot of our buildings there where we're doing student residents. We're doing residential properties.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we now the space that I'm playing in now that I love so much. It's commercial property, but specifically for retail. Because I've realized that as Black people, right now we've got a growing lifestyle that we're seeing in our communities and people
100%.
that really want to spend money. So, but however, I always say, I've always advocated that it always disturbs me that you see shopping centers and malls in the township, But however, those are built or are owned by people that have never lived in the township, or
100%.
let alone, so it's exactly what I was telling you to say. It's other people dictating what we need. And when you visit those malls, how many of black business owners are actually in those malls or making
100%.
money? It isn't many.
Or
Do you
how
understand? So
easily
that's what I
as
think.
accessible to them, those that wants to be in those malls.
Exactly my point. So
100%.
and right now, obviously capital is one of the biggest things that we've realized. So I mean, for me, when I looked at around and I looked at some of the people that are within my circle, the space that they're playing in, I think it got to a point where I got tired of being a hustler and I wanted to start living,
Yeah.
So, and therefore I wanted to become an influential individual. Hence, therefore, I mean, I had to even go back to school to sit, because right now I'm fortunate enough that besides what I do business wise, I also sit in boards,
Yes.
So I'm fortunate that last year I'm sitting on one of the boards that was launched by the president, the GBVF Response Fund One, where we're trying to raise $1 billion, for the purpose of that. So, and I sit obviously on the board of the South African Institute of Black Property Practitioners,
Yes.
and many other boards. I think, especially this year, you're still gonna see a lot of what I do, or what I've been doing actually, in the background,
100%.
So it's really that, because for me, it's a point to say, up until individuals like ourselves own banks and certain boards where we can make decisions to say Lebo needs money. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So right now, how can we better equip Lebo, or how can we better, do you understand, back Lebo up for him to make his developments, or his dream even a success for that matter?
100%.
Unfortunately for people like me and you, we don't have buddies or uncle buddies that are playing golf that could actually sign over a check,
100%. Yes.
for you to actually do developments or do this and that, so we really need to be begging, and right now that's why we've had for the time we find that from a private bank point of view, I mean, you look at the CBI, you need to be sitting at a certain net worth,
Yeah.
you understand, for you to actually be able to access capital for that matter,
100%.
that want things like security. What security do you have? You coming from the township.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I mean, when I grew up in poverty, I was staying in Mkukwini. Do you understand? So now, do I give you Umkuku as security? Do
you don't even have an uncle to borrow a balance sheet from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes. So by virtue of that, it's something that really disadvantages, and it's something that I've realized to say, up until we're sitting in a point where we could influence policies, up until we could actually sit in a point to say, right now, if ever, let's say there's a bank, there's whatever that doing injustice to a black child, we've got enough balance sheet to even take them to court.
100%.
Right now we've got the likes of a lot of white funds that I could make mention of that are in the best interest of the Boers,
100%.
or that are in the best interest of black people. Or now we don't.
Yeah.
Right now you're doing something that I could even put money on, or actually contribute in, or even be of value to, but I see you as competition. It's really things like that you realize to say, up until as black people we could shift our mindset. There's really, I mean, a long way to go for us to actually do that. That's why I really respect the initiative that you're doing. And I'll also invest, by the way. I'll put in 10,000 to get my own sales certificate as well. Then, I mean, let's see as the development goes. If you need money, let's sit down and talk
100%.
and see obviously what can be done. Yeah, that is me in the nutshell. I'm still on TV, do I? Am I still on TV? Yeah, I do a weekly show called #Real Estate on DSTV channel 412, where I talk about all things property. So the difference between me and you, when you give information for free and I get paid for what I say. So
hey, ladies and gentlemen, did you see those bombs? Did you hear those bombs?
Yeah. So it's really, for me, it goes back to the value that one brings.
100%,
So
100%.
I've seen that I put a whole lot of value, and I don't take for granted, and I'm not arrogant about it.
Oh, yeah.
So and yeah, that's really what I do.
Tandega is also saying that there's so much red tape. I mean, economic exclusion is very, very intentional when it comes to this particular, especially in our country. So when one especially if you are someone of color. When you are just
Yeah,
trying to emerge, they want to chop your head
yeah.
before you even can come out of the
That is,
water. Yeah. So
yeah,
unfortunately, that's the reality of things, especially currently in our country. So what we need to do is come together, as you've been saying, to say, look, let's come together, let's work together. Let's not see each other as competition. I mean,
correct.
there's over 2.1 million backlogs of housing in this country, and we yet still see each other as property investors, as competitors. I mean, why can't we come
Correct.
together? Because that's our philosophy in this
Mm,
house, to say
mm,
individually, I am limited to the resources that I currently have.
correct.
But if we
Mm,
are working as a collective, then we have a
mm,
collective buying power. We have a collective
mm,
resources that enable us to access
mm.
better investment opportunities, that gives us
True.
better investment returns. And by that
Mm,
way, working together, we are able to ensure that we move at a faster pace. We are also replicate and multiply quicker, as opposed to when you are doing things alone. I mean, alone you can spend probably 2, 3, 4 years trying to save up for
true.
a development, where else you could have used
Mm,
those resources combined with other people's
yeah.
resources. You could have multiplied and done that development within that first year, and you leverage against it, and you do other developments within that 2, 3, 4 years. You could be
Mm,
on 10, 15, 20 developments, as opposed to just that one.
yeah.
You know.
And can I give you a different perspective as well?
Yes.
So, I mean, for people that are watching and that want to get into the property space, I mean, we're talking about an industry here that is worth 7 trillion,
Hundred
you know,
percent.
and for an industry that's worth 7 trillion, tell me now how many black funds, or black property developers do we have that are JSE listed, you know? So, I mean, let's take out the likes of, Pareto. Let's take out the likes of the Billion Group. So, and even with those combined, we don't even own 1%
100%.
of the industry within the listed space. Do you
Hundred
understand?
percent. Hundred percent.
And let alone, not only that we don't own 1% of the industry, even within the entire JSE as a whole, we don't even have 1% of women ownership, particularly black women.
100%.
Do you understand? So the next thing we're living in a country that speaks of transformation, that speaks of triple BE, and the let alone, and where else there's strategic industries that we are not there, we are not participating in, and let alone involved in.
Yeah.
So for me, that's an error. And up until obviously there's the likes of us that are able to sit in these seats and actually be in a position to influence the decision for in the favor of a black child. So we
100%.
still have a long way to go. We'll make all the noise that we make, and we'll march, and do all of these things, but with no change,
Hundred
and
percent.
especially economic change.
I totally agree. Someone is asking here. Teboho is asking, are you on channel 142 every day?
No, I'm not on channel 412 every day. It's once a week. That I'm on. The show it plays every Monday 5 p.m. So, but however, some of the episodes, in fact, majority of the episodes are actually on YouTube. If you've missed an episode, you can actually go to YouTube and actually get to watch shows. We've interviewed the likes of Ipileng Makare. We've interviewed a lot of, I think, black heavyweights within the property space, and we've interviewed Euphonic, and a whole lot of really people that are doing well within the space. Because the idea of the show is mainly built around how can we get ordinary individuals to own property, and right now people, what they do not know is that property is vast, guys. There's a huge space of property. Just choose a niche that you want to be playing at and actually get onto that space. I mean, right now in South Africa alone, we've got 140 funders, that are looking for projects on a day-to-day basis. But right now, how many of us are tapping into those funds? The key thing about property or getting into any business is to make money using other people's money. But right now, the minute obviously you start now tapping into or bootstrapping to actually get into a property, you really playing a long haul game. You know, that's why obviously we've got the likes of social housing. I mean, Lebo, you've touched on the base of the backlog that we have on housing alone.
Yeah.
You could imagine for how many years me and you would actually live, be wealthy, and even die before the backlog is actually fulfilled.
100%.
Yes, and that's how much obviously and that. And obviously there's an amazing space that I love within the African continent. Currently we've got footprint in Kenya and Zambia, and where that on its own, Lebza, you don't know, the market there, people actually pay, you see the rent that you get paid monthly.
Yes.
You know, like it's January, people pay a year ahead.
Yo.
You know, so because they value you know, the shelter, that they value what they put into their mouth, you know. So it's really that. And right now this is a market that even trading with US dollars. Do you understand? And right now I've realized that sometimes, yes, if you need to cross border.
100%.
But right now what I've realized that we happy playing within, you know, where we come from, so that you can take your Mac and how and for what? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's really that. I think for me, what I've realized too, I mean, I've got a friend of mine in what's this, Cosmos City.
Yes.
I mean, owns about 46 properties alone, one man, 46 properties.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and the minimum rent that he charges there, that's $5,000. Do your math.
Yeah.
You know, that's mainly from the township point of view, you know. So I mean, with us, I mean, I'll make an example. I see there's even one of the agents that sells my properties, Nthoana Mukhumudzi. Please follow her, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So one of the things that for me I've realized, to say slowly but surely, I mean, Tony would attest, we've been offloading, you know, because right now I'm getting into strategic assets. And strategic assets, it's properties where the likes of Vodacom, the likes of MTN would come to you and say, we actually like the kind of space you have. We want to come put up a transmitter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to chase anybody for rent. I don't need to do whatever. They put a transmitter at 30 lease. You know, they pay me 80,000 a month. Do you understand?
100%.
So you've got strategic parcels where oil companies want to actually set up whether distribution plant there or do this and that, and they pay you 200,000 a month. You know, I don't need to be worried on how am I gonna evict how am I gonna, you know. So it's really that. And as you grow into the space, you're realizing to say, man, this space is actually bigger than we think.
100%.
You know,
100%.
So that's why I won't even see you as competition, because, you know, chances are you don't even, you know, playing where I'm playing.
100%.
Because half of the time you get to a board meeting, you're the only black person there.
Hey.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna sit there and be proud. I mean, before, these are the things that used to push me. And I used to be fine. I mean, because obviously you could imagine back then having made $1 million at 23. We got drunk because the media was there. Mzansi's young top millionaire, or Mzansi's young entrepreneur, and this and this and that. Just those things run to the head.
Yes.
And I used to love being the first, or being the young, or being whatever. Now you grow, we matured now. Just, and now it's sickening.
Yeah.
So now it's a question to say, if I can give a rope to Lebo, if I can give a rope to Zodwa or to whoever, why can't I?
100%.
You know,
100%.
So that's why I realized to say, you know, Mahatma Gandhi, when he says, be the change that you want to see.
100%.
You know,
Yeah.
So now imagine me now sitting in those boards at grade 11.
Eish.
You know, so that's why obviously I had to now as well go to school. Then I'll sit here from a point of authority to say, you know, a multi-million-dollar signature. Do you understand?
100%.
So now, how do we influence?
Yeah.
How do we open up the industry? How do we really create opportunities? That's really where I am, and I think for me that gives me a more peaceful sleep than actually me being paid at night.
100%. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please do drop all the questions on the comment section below, and I'll read them out. If you'd like to ask me any question, or you'd like to ask Teboho any question that you may have, please feel free to be able to send those questions through, and we'll definitely be able to assist in comes to that. And Teboho, I want to ask you this, man, to say, in terms of, is there any opportunities that you'd like to bring to the attention of people on our audience here, to say, look, these are some of the opportunities that exist within the property space or within the investment space, that whether you're young, old, or otherwise, you can be able to start accessing such opportunities and be able to participate in such opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of opportunities that I have. So I'm trying to think because remember there's levels as well to this opportunity. So it's important the audience that you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one that even that just spoke to what I wanna speak about.
Yeah.
I think it's Teboho is speaking about opportunities within or for ordinary people.
Yeah.
So now, when you ask a lot of people, why are you not in property? The first thing that people put or people say out there, so is the fact that there is no, there's no affordability. Okay, it's
Yes.
it's
Capital.
obviously a capital issue.
Yes.
Which one thing that people do not know. Let me make an example. The government, as we sit, it's got three opportunities, especially for people that want to get into the property space. The main one that we're seeing mainly over the time being advertised there, it's an opportunity called flips. Flips. It's a housing subsidy program for first-time homeowners.
Yeah.
So right now you've got people that are watching this live that are definitely earning more than 3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And whatsoever. So, and right now with that opportunity, government gives you up to about 120,000 grant money, mahala, for you to own a property.
Yes.
But right now, you don't see an influx of applications coming in, especially from us, because we do not know about that opportunity to say you can buy a property with as little as 3,000 rands.
Yeah.
So it's really stuff like that. And obviously, that is one. And two, when you go to inner city, like there's likes of Johannesburg, and city of Nthoana and many others, there's got a program called inner city revitalization.
Yeah.
So with that is that you'd find that investors like us would come and buy buildings or buy properties in that city. So half of the time you'd find a municipality would have a map, and according to zones, to say which zone pays the most, which zone doesn't.
Yeah.
That whatever that you invest in that, you're able to get maybe up to even 60 to certain places 100% rebate return on whatever that you've put in there. So it means right now, if ever then you can take money from me. Let's say if ever you come, you take 15 million from me, and right now you go put it within that area, within that project. You can get a tax break, and you can even get a rebate. So up to whatever that you've put in there, because you are part of a solution, you are revitalizing the city,
Yeah.
or you are giving a solution to the people. So that could come back to it. Either it could be in a form of tax bracket, or it can in terms of rebate that comes back to you. So it means practically whatever that you've spent, that you're able to make money, or you're able to make back that money as it is. Do you understand?
100%.
So right now, obviously, those are the opportunities that we don't know of. And right now, what I've realized as well, to say, I mean, for emerging Black property developers, I mean, there's a friend and colleague that I saw here online, Majezi. I mean, it's a guy that comes from equally the township as well, and that today is running his own construction company and is doing well. So that you find that for people like that, I mean, you could decide tomorrow that you want to become a developer yourself. I mean, there's funds in our country, and that particularly accommodating Black people, that you could actually own your own rental buildings, or even student resident, or this and that, and you'd find, let's say, let me make an example. Averagely, I'll make it an example about 10 million. So if you're applying for 10 million of that money, 10 million gets approved in-house, and 2 million of that money, it's grant. So right now, between me and you, how many people can sign you a check for 2 million? Mahala to jail.
Nothing. No one.
Exactly.
No one.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And for then with outside of that, obviously it's a question to say, you making up or you paying off in the 8 million.
Yeah.
They become equally invested into your business. So I'll make sure that your business becomes a success.
Yeah. 100%.
So but now what I've realized is that now we're very quick when it comes to issues of shopping and wanting to shop. The minute you make your first million, you want to chase that beamer, you want to do this and that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've done those mistakes myself.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, we grow from these things. Then you find a way to say, how can you? Obviously, you're better off, be in a position of actually making up that happen for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think the last opportunity that obviously that I would definitely make mention as from a private equity space point of view, to say there's people like us that at least with you still at the space where you collect money from people.
Yeah.
You know, some of us now we're in a space where we collect money from companies, you
Mm.
know, where that actually give us, you know, let's say they would give us how do I don't want to really put numbers much, because I realize sometimes we talk about numbers that scare people. Yeah, let's say they would give us a fair number of liquid.
Yeah.
And for us, critically, it's to identify individuals or companies, black companies. Right now, the target or the chase is mainly women-owned businesses or developers that are sitting with unique projects, you know, and projects that are scalable, you know, projects that are socially viable,
Yes.
that you could actually invest in, you know, and actually take up equity for that. So, but what I've realized to say with us mainly, especially particularly black people, we're obsessed with ownership. You know, this is my company. I want to own. You know,
Yeah.
I want to do this and that.
Yeah.
And right now you're owning 100% of zero when
100%.
you could own, you know, at 10%, you know, of a billion portfolio or of whatever. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So it really goes back to the issue of information, to say how informed are we, and the amount of space that we really need to play in. And most exciting, in Gauteng particularly, there's mega projects. You know, mega projects, you know, it's where you could actually do cities within a city, you know, where you'd build schools, churches, and this and that. And let me make an example with one, you know, without mentioning names. You'd find a mega project, let's say right now, it's a piece of land or that was abandoned that you've actually bought. Then you'd find that from that point, for you to even kickstart or offset that project, you've got the likes of GPF, you know, Gauteng Partnership Fund, that would actually pay you money to actually build an aspect from a rental point of view. So then from there, already with that, they give you an off-take agreement.
Yeah.
Then you've got the likes of Shra that would come from a social housing point of view, you know, that would give you an off-take agreement. Then right now, remember, you've got this piece of land, then you've got oil companies that would go to say, no, you said how many people are going to stay there? So no, it would make sense for us to have a petrol station there and this and that, you know? So therefore, they would give you a lease of their own that is off-take. And with some of these people, these are people that would give you money for you to put, you know, ground onto your own land, onto your own development. You understand? So for you, as long as you've given them whatever long-term lease that you've given, do you understand? And I can really go ahead in terms of showcasing like how much money you could make there before you even spend your own.
100%.
You know, and right now, once you've got an offtake with this one, you go to this one and say, you know, this one gave me an offtake agreement. This is what I'm doing for them. This is how many units that I'm doing for them.
Yes.
You're missing out on the piece of the action. They want to be part of the action. How many can you do for us?
Yeah.
How many do you want? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll show you. I mean, one of the institution. I'll send you a WhatsApp screenshot. You'll see with one of the email.
Yeah.
They put a request to say they want 3,000 units.
Yeah.
You know, to say we've got the money. You know, which give us a project. You know, and right now, if they're able to give you, let's say, up to 250,000 or 300,000 per unit, they want 3,000 units. Do the math. Do you understand? So even from who you negotiate with from a land point of view, do you understand? It's all in the knowledge. Right now, what I've realized, we're very quick to say we're chasing money, but I've realized chase ideas, money follows ideas.
100%.
You know, and people don't know you could actually buy into businesses using what we call sweat equity. You know, because the first business that I bought using sweat equity, you know,
100%.
It's actually selling the value that I could bring onto this business without bringing any money.
100%.
You know, so it's really that. But obviously, this is information that you don't find on Google, unfortunately.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And right now, I've seen, you know, there's people that populating everywhere that are becoming experts. There's expert this, expert that, you know, and.
Yeah.
And that's why I think to a certain extent, I've taken a back seat, man, you know? Because there's certain things, or there's certain things I cannot just be associated with, you know, I don't see myself there.
100%.
You know? So, and people that are meant to know you would know you.
Definitely.
And people that are meant to know what you do, you know, they know what you do. So it's really that for me, I've realized to say, you decide the kind of value that you want to bring, or that you want to create for yourself and for the people that are around you. So it's really that.
100%. I totally agree with you. I mean, when it comes to money, money follows solutions. I mean, if you are bringing solutions to the market, money
True.
will follow. But if you're chasing the money, but how are you
Yeah.
going to get the money? Because I mean,
You
people
see.
pay for the solution that makes their life
True.
easy. I mean, as an individual, we are all interested in ourselves. People,
True.
in general, we are selfish. We want to take, yeah, care of ourselves first. We want to put ourselves first before anyone or anything in this world. So
True.
therefore,
Mm.
for people to give them money, we can't go and back and say, give me money, give me money, give me money. But why should I give you money? So the first question that people would ask you is that, why should I give you money? So you
Mm.
must create a solution that people are willing to pay you to get the solution from you. I mean, without the solution that makes my life easy, I'm never gonna
True.
be, at liberty to just, open my wallet and
Yeah.
give you money. So I think people open their wallets to solutions that makes their life easy. They're the solutions that are bringing a solution to their problem. So if you can find a problem that is big enough, that has a bigger market, that people are willing to pay you for the solution for, then definitely you
Mm.
have a business there, and you can the money will follow you with no doubt. But if you just want the
Yeah.
money without bringing and making people's lives easy, then you have another thing coming. The money will actually run away from you. It will actually go the
Yeah.
other direction. So I
Yeah.
actually
So
absolutely agree with you.
what you're actually saying, it's something I've said to a couple of my friends, to say we get paid proportional to the value that we're creating.
100%.
If you're creating less value, you get paid less. But you're
100%.
creating more value, you get paid more. The one that solves the most problems sends the highest invoice, unfortunately.
I couldn't have said it better, my brother. I couldn't have said it better. I mean, I was having a conversation the other day with a group of friends, and I was saying to them to say, people are quick to say, I have a degree and I can't find a job. But instead of
Mm.
them saying, I have this knowledge and skill, and this is the value that I bring to the companies, and I
Mm.
can't find work. So they must show the value that they can bring to these companies, so that they can be employable. But some people, they think just by the virtue of them having a qualification, it qualifies them to have a job. I mean,
Mm. Yeah.
employers employ and keep people that are providing value for their businesses. And like that, the people are now able to, continue to have jobs. They continue to earn an income, and to have an employment for themselves. But without them creating value, without them adding value into the company, then unfortunately they're going to be out of jobs sooner or later.
True.
So that's the
Yeah.
unfortunate reality of things. Just a quick one. I've seen some few questions coming through. Someone is saying, "What do you think of the new prime rate, 7.75%?" Unfortunately, this was inevitable. It's still going to go back to its prime, to the
Yeah.
previous, prior to COVID. My prediction
Mm.
is that in the next year or so, we should be back at 10% or so in terms of the prime rate.
Mm.
I mean,
Mm.
the interest rate came down to assist in terms of the COVID, a
Mm.
bit of a COVID relief, and because of
Mm.
inflation is going up so high, at the much pacer rate, so that by them increasing the interest rate, they are trying to slow down inflation as well. So that's the logic behind increasing the interest rate as well, to slow down inflation, and obviously to slowly build up to where the prime rate was
True.
pre-COVID. So that is inevitable. If we were talking the petrol price, we'll be talking something different. But when it comes to inflation,
Yeah.
it was inevitable
Yeah.
for it to happen. I don't know. What are your thoughts when it comes to that?
I mean, I think you've said a mouthful. Personally, I'm a son of a king, so I don't speak negativity. If the interest rate says otherwise, now I'm celebrating, and I'll tell you why. I've realized, I've appreciated, I think, over the years, in the level of decision making that I make or how I make certain decisions. And I'll make an example. Right now, I mean the interest rate was at the lowest that it has been I think about 10 years.
Yeah.
So some of us took the opportunity to access as much capital as we can. So now the contrary to that, obviously now as the interest rate is going up, some of us we need to be panicking to say, yo, with so much debt that we've taken or with so much capital that we've taken, how are we going to service that?
Yeah.
But now let me tell you how the two ways how interest rate works. When you now go buy a car, you go buy a house. So from an interest rate point of view, one, you definitely look at negotiating, obviously, who gives you a better interest rate for you to actually, take up their debt.
Yeah.
So it means, in short, right now, we're sitting at a point where financial institutions are actually begging you to take their debt.
100%. Yes.
So now it's a question to say, what are you taking the debt for?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It goes back to that value. If you don't have value, obviously you don't have. Now the more I get given debt, is the more I take it.
100%.
Because I know exactly what I'm gonna do and use with that money. So that's one advantage. And two, another advantage is that you've got a choice to say when signing that agreement, you've got an opportunity of locking the interest rate that you are given at, or you've got the interest of opening it so that it fluctuates.
Yes.
So for me, the reason I'm happy or I'm not worried is because some of the debt that I've accessed so much, I made sure that I lock the interest rate.
Yes.
I would have been at the loss if ever the interest rate would have gone below 7 or would have set at the 5 and whatever, because you're now would have been locked up at the 7.
Yes.
But now whenever the interest rate's going up, now I'm not worried because now my interest rate was locked up.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So now reality is we're once 10.5%. So like you've rightfully said, to say within a year or 2 years, we're gonna be back there.
Yes,
You know?
100%.
So now if you're gonna take debt now, lock it up so that you don't need whenever people start panicking, I've taken so much debt and this, you don't want. Then what is that as well? It's information.
100%.
We are not informed.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
About these things. We are not informed about these things. And another thing, from an opportunity point of view as well, it gives buyers a negotiating power. To say at this point in time, you're able to negotiate. I think so there's people that are on life, like I was saying, including people that have seen me negotiate,
Yeah.
I love negotiating. I think it's one of the things I love. I look forward to actually sitting there and and I think because what I've done, I've not separated my spirituality from business, So I'll tell I'm very spiritual and unashamed. So,
That's good. Yeah.
Because I've understood I'm not where I am because I'm smart.
100%.
If I'm a high school dropout from the guy, see, that's why I got it along the way somewhere.
I totally get you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's people that have gotten better educational opportunities and this and that, do you understand?
Yeah.
And could actually be sitting in better opportunities right now that would not even favor me, do you understand?
Yeah.
But by virtue of me able to sit here, then from there, what would be my unique selling proposition? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's where obviously for me, my spirituality, has really become important to say, when I go into business, I pray.
Yeah.
When I go into a negotiation wanting to, I pray, or am I making a good decision? Because there's people that are making bad decisions. To them, they're making good decisions.
100%.
And they do not know.
Yes,
You understand?
yes, yes.
So for me, it's something that I've realized. Okay, putting that aside, to say right now, this gives us negotiation leg to say now, if you're selling this onto the market, do you understand? Right now, looking at where the market is at, there's really market volatility that we've seen go up, whether being COVID and this and that,
Yes.
and how the market has actually been responding, therefore, So ideally, you would have wanted to have been selling this, for 10 million or for $1 million.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But because of the market volatility and right now, the potential of the interest rate raising high or going this and that, and do you understand?
Yeah.
I'd love to give you $1 million, but I cannot.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind and needing to accommodate all of this, I can only accommodate 700,000, or 750. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So as to I'm gonna lock up my interest rate and this and that, that's got nothing to do with it's me and my bank or me and my financiers.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
But it's really that I've really seen and realized to say in any opportunity. I love documentaries. You look at World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
So in those world war, as much as right now this wars even happening in Russia and Ukraine, if there's people that are printing money right now,
Yeah.
in the midst of chaos, they're
Yeah.
printing money. You know,
100%.
we come from COVID. You know, right now within a space of COVID, businesses shutting down and this and that. There's people that have print money. There's people that have built so much wealth that they've ever had. You know,
Take
there's
for
somebody that
instance
has.
Elon Musk. Prior to COVID,
You see,
most of us didn't know Elon Musk.
exactly.
But now everyone knows about him, and he's the richest man in the world, in the entire universe, and he has, I mean, his wealth has went over 200% up. I mean, that's exactly
It's
what
true.
you. I totally agree what you talk
Yeah.
what you
So,
referring
so,
to.
so, so now we are in the midst of chaos. Ne? So now it's a question to say, in this chaos that we're in, what opportunity can you identify for you to actually take advantage of? You know, so in the
Yeah.
midst of this chaos, what can you identify? Right now, let me make an example. You've said something very good to say. Right now, at this point in time, looking obviously at the generic or the minimum household income, you know. So now, reality is people are losing jobs.
Yeah.
And the more people are losing jobs, you know you know there's businesses that make money out of people's misery.
I know.
You know, so
They strive of
so
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in the midst of chaos,
Yeah.
man, right now because people are losing their job, people are losing their houses, people are losing their cars.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy. You know why? Because I buy those houses, because I buy those cars, because I buy those assets.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I've built myself in a point where you know, banks and auction houses send me lists to say this is what we have.
Yeah.
You know, this is what we do. You understand?
100%.
So and we're sitting in a better position of and right now from a property point of view, as property investors, this is a point where we need to celebrate because it means less bond decline or less bond approvals, more bond declines. Then guess where people need to come back to renting.
100%.
And they need to rent from who? From me and you. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it's really that, and unfortunately, that's the reality of life.
100%.
You know,
100%.
whether we're the one that do it or not, reality is there's somebody that will do it. There's somebody that will benefit.
Someone will take the
You understand?
advantage and the opportunity and do it.
So yeah, so put yourself in a point where you're able to take advantage of anything, anyway.
100%.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So right now, there's somebody that's sitting with financial services or accounting skills here. You know, do you know how many people that SARS is going for right now that are messing up their returns? They are doing this and this and that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's really stuff like that. That if somebody was strategic enough, that position themselves right now.
Yeah.
Do you understand? To take advantage of actually giving or being the solution to those people
100%.
for them to actually make money.
100%.
Remember, I said the one that solves the most problem is the one that sends the highest invoice. You know, that's the one thing that you must know. So right now, one thing that I want to ask, I mean, we've got 55 people that are connected right now.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people that maybe going to catch this live later.
Yeah.
You know, what problem are you solving? You know, and whose problem are you solving?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think the minute we set our mind to think like that and operate in that, I think for me we still really have a long way to go.
100%. I totally agree. I mean, you've touched. I think your last closing statement was key there. What problem are you solving, and whose problem are you solving? Is that problem? Is it only your problem, or there's a multitude of people that have the similar problem that needs a solution that you're providing to the problem? And if you have an audience big enough that with the same problem and there's a willingness to pay for the solution, there you have it. There's your money. That's where your purpose is.
Yeah. It's true. And one thing that I want to say, Lebza, we're all on social media.
100%.
We're on Instagram. It's important. Who are you following? What are they posting? What are you learning from them?
Exposure.
You know? So if you post it, you're busy following people that are attending parties every week. That doesn't bring value to me anyway.
100%.
You know. So and let me give people this homework. A typical South African has got an average of 500 followers.
Yeah.
Whether Instagram, Facebook, or this and this and that. You know, that average of 100 people or 500 people that you're following, you know. So those are your potential clients.
Yeah.
What are you selling to them, or what problem are you solving for them? Do you understand? You might not chase the entire 500.
Yeah.
Chase 10% of that. That is 50 people. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Then 1% of that, 20, I mean, yeah, 500, yeah, 10% is 50 people, you know?
Yeah.
And 50 people that you can chase there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can live and make money that other people don't make in a year.
100%.
Do not be appealing to everyone. No, stop chasing everyone. You know, the idea is not to chase everyone. You know?
Yeah.
Because the key people or that you're chasing is the key people that you'd be appealing with,
100%.
or that you'd be appealing to.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the people that would give you their money to say, because we're seeing value that you're giving me, or you've got potential for me to learn something from you. I'll give you my money so that I'm able to learn from you or derive that value.
100%. Imagine if you have the 50 people paying you 1,000 rand each per month. That's 50,000 rand per month. What service, what product can you sell for 1,000 rand that can give you 50 clients a month? That's all you need to make 50,000 rand. If you don't want to make 50,000, let's say you want to make 25,000, can you sell 500 rand product or service to 50 people? That's exactly how you make money. I mean, this is just 10% of the.
And these are complete strangers that you do not know, people that you wouldn't have normally met on the street. Do you understand? So
100%,
it's really that for me that I've realized it's important. It's all in the perspective, guys. We like overthinking these things, you know. So that's why I even respect people Barak sang the veg at the corner, or that are selling cakes, or that are doing this and that. Right now, somebody else is chasing to say, not if a day I can make 1,000 rand, I'm cool.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you understand? So 1,000 rand a day, you know, if they're working 5 days a week, that's 5,000.
Yeah.
You know, so a month has got 4 weeks. That is 20,000.
Yeah.
How many people now are wearing suits and ties, are going to jobs that pay them 3,000 or 5,000 a month?
100%. I mean, they still have to pay transport costs to it.
Yeah.
They still have food, and they still have to buy those suits at the end of the month as well to maintain the look.
You see. But guess what? They look down on the guy that is selling cake. So the guy that is selling the veg, the guy that is doing this and that. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because you like, brother. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love my suits, but at the same time, I hate them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think I just love them for a virtue of I've got good suits.
Yeah.
You know, and I get unfortunately to certain tables that require me to wear suits.
Yeah.
But I actually love being dirty and being out there, because where there's debt, that's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
You know,
100%. I mean, the money is not in the boardroom. The money is on the ground. The money is where,
absolutely.
I spent a lot of time on the ground as well. I spend a lot of time on construction sites. Yes, I love my suits, but my suits, they just give me a seat on the boardroom to discuss and to be strategic about it and to make decisions. But where the real money is being made, it doesn't require a suit. You need to sometimes wear overalls and just go and get the money.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love the comment from Bonolo. Chakani says, worth the time, definitely worth the data. Who do you follow? Love it.
Yeah, exposure is everything. I always say that what you expose yourself too much to, you're most likely to become. So that's exactly what what makes up who you become. And when we were growing up, there was a saying that says, "Show me your friends, and I'll tell you your future." And so that obviously spoke to people that you expose yourself too much to, people that you spend much of your time, who you follow, what you listen to, what you watch on YouTube and stuff like that. So the TV programs that you watch, the books that you read, the opinions that you hold true and dearly to your heart, and stuff like that. So you need to be very careful and very selective and very, very intentional on how you who you expose yourself to, what you expose yourself to, and what you listen to.
I think we must have that discussion one day.
100%.
Because the reality is, we as Black people, remember, we come from communities that don't encourage us to have confidence,
100%.
that don't encourage us to know or understand selves. Bari uzenza ngcono, and sometimes ungcono vele, you
Yeah,
know.
very.
So you understand? So, and the minute you understanding self or seeking to understand self, bari was born. Do you understand? So
100%.
I think one time we must really have that conversation to say, one, how to build relationships, you know, and how to leverage you know, relationships. So it's really that we need to have. So Bonga says, Lebza, you bought a kapadia fanach. I can't get enough of listening.
No, for sure, for sure. I know, definitely. I'm now firing guns now. I only bring the best,
Yeah.
only the best, guys, only the best. Teboho, in closing, I want you to, think of, closing comments and what you'd like to leave for our people. But my last words to, that I want to also bring to the people's attention is that we live in a society that most people, just adding on to what you just said, where the society is quick to say that you're blowing your own horn. It actually discourages one to speak good about themselves and to speak better about themselves and to speak life about themselves, whereby the minute you say, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, they're quick to say, don't blow your own horn. But the minute you say, Yasmina, I'm lazy, they even add on to say, yeah, well, when you are lazy, remember you are always sleeping. They don't condemn you when you speak bad about you. But when you speak good about you, they're quick to condemn, but they never praise you or even say those things, blow your own horn that they say. They say you should wait for them to blow your horn, but they never blow your horn. But when you are now condemning yourself and speaking bad about you, they're quick to say to you, they add on to say, yeah, vele wena, remember that day you did this and this. And they can have a lengthy discussion about, all the bad things that you do, the kind of bad person you are, and to what extent you are bad. But when you say, I'm a good person, they don't even go to an extent. They don't even want to entertain that. They quickly want to shut it down. They quickly want to say, I know. You are blowing your own horn. We get a bit there. You think you're all that. You are, they're quick to label you, even when you speak good about you, forgetting that when you expose yourself too much to the good side of you, automatically the bad side will fall off. But if you focus on, they allow you to only focus on the bad side of you. So that means that that's exactly what you're growing, because you are condemned to focus on the good side. And then you automatically become this bad person that they're talking about, because you are more exposed to the bad person that you are than the good side that you are. So in my world, ladies and gentlemen, make it a point to say, in your world, it's okay to speak good about you. It's okay to praise yourself. It's okay to pat yourself in the back. It's okay to actually celebrate, all your wins, all your achievement, all your growth. It's okay. Make it okay in your world to be able to expose yourself to the good side and only speak about the good side more than you speak about the bad side of you. If I would say, don't even speak about your bad side. Don't even speak about your, all those negative things. Just forget about negativity. Just focus on the positivity and just grow from there. I think those were just my closing remarks, adding to what you just saying there. Is there any last words? I don't want to keep you for too long here. I know you have other commitments that you need to go to. We'll definitely can visit other conversation at a later stage and engage with the audiences going forward.
Okay. I think before I close, there's an important question that Thabiso Bokgatso has asked.
Okay.
To say, where do I think there's opportunities for young people in the future? Right now, there's opportunities everywhere. opportunities everywhere. There's opportunities in property, there's opportunity in financial services, there's literally there's opportunity everywhere you could think of,
Yeah.
So whether it's farming, whether it's whatever. So, because the reality is we living in a country where we've got old people that are sitting in positions, whether politically, corporate, and the likes. They don't like doing handover, and they're not doing handover because we intimidate them, and it's okay. So, but one thing is people are dying, and people are dying. Others are getting old, they're retiring, they're getting out of position. Others, some of their assets, are being devalued and things like that. Do you understand? So reality is some of us could be playing in the property space. You could play somewhere else as well. But in the midst of wherever you play, make sure that you obviously own properties. That's why you see, 90% of the wealthiest people in the world own property, in their portfolio somewhere. Right now we know Bill Gates as an IT guy and whatever, but he's one of the biggest property owners, in the world.
100%.
So, and you do not understand what is it that is seeing that we are not seeing. So there's really opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
We just need to be able to chase those opportunities and find them. So, So then, as my closing remark, is I've said this before. I think at the time I didn't understand the magnitude of it. It's you might be born from a poor background, but you don't need to die poor.
100%.
You might be born from poverty, but you don't need to die in poverty. So there's two things I've learned in life. If you cannot change the situation, change yourself. And if ever you cannot change yourself, change the situation. So right now, from where I am and where I'm sitting right now, and when I look at where I come from, my brother, it's impossible. I think that's why even to date I've remained humble. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, I'm comfortable, Jack. Not to claim or whatever. I'm comfortable. I get to my garage, I choose what am I driving today.
100%.
I choose where I'm gonna live or where do I even vacate. And things like that. But what I've realized to say, the price that I was willing to pay, you must be willing to pay the price. So right now you must sometimes be judged by sometimes even your own family because they don't see your vision or they don't even see what you're trying to build for yourself. You might even lose your friends because but because you think you're the best thing next to whatever. Do you understand? So reality is I grew up in a community or in a township where people that have made it or that perceive have made it, guess what? Back in the back room and they're driving beautiful cars out of the back room. Those that have made it, they buy houses in the nearest suburb that is from the township, so that weekend they come to the township and be seen to have made it. Do you understand? 100%. So for me, I sat and I looked at all of that. And whenever I go to my township, it's always a reminder why I cannot end up here. I wanted something different for myself. I wanted something that other people are having that is out there. And for me, I was willing to be spoken about, I was willing to be disowned and even disown people because I realized to say, guys, in the conversation that we're having, we're talking about Mazana, we're talking about Bumnandi. How's that,
alcohol, drugs.
So I'd rather be, exactly. I'd rather be locked up in my house and watch YouTube or follow somebody that is sharing good content or learn something or read a book, or do this and that, So it's really something that I've learned to say, it's important to design the kind of life that you want to live,
100%.
And most importantly, pay the price for you to be able to do that. I hate school, do you understand? But right now I've realized to say for where I want to be, for the kind of circles that I need to be in, the kind of conversations that I need to be in, these are people that are learning. Do you understand? So for me to sit there and it's I didn't want to be a 40-year-old or whatsoever. But for me, it was a question to say, what value can I create, and what value, can I be paid for? So, and right now, that's why I've said it's important whose problem you're solving, what problem you're solving and whose problem you're solving, because other people are chasing everyone, or they're chasing 10 clients, and there's people that, a year, they deal with 2 or 3 clients, they are set for the year.
100%.
Do you understand?
And
The
speaking
problem
of
with the
that,
people they're solving is the people with a balance sheet. Do you understand? It's people that are able to pay, that are able to do this and that, you know,
100%.
to say right now, you might not choose the situation that you come from, but you can choose the situation that you end up in, you know?
100%.
So I don't believe in fake it till you make it, but I believe in working on it till you make it.
100%.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So it's really that for me, and I really like to thank everyone that has really joined the live today. So definitely follow Lebogang, follow me, and I mean now during the second quarter, I'm looking at relaunching our property mentorship program, where we're looking at really developing Black property developers level without you know, taking much of your platform. I mean, we've set aside or ring fence about 100 million strictly for township development, you know, and it really for the purpose of developing emerging Black property and owners or developers. So, but right now it's a question that we've come across individuals that you want to change their life. The first question they're going to ask you is how much you're going to pay. Do you understand? So the minute a person for me says that,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
but however, you know, I've realized that we're not hungry enough.
Yeah.
You know, the reason you could sit there as a 29-year-old and be able to say, I'm sitting on a property portfolio of this much and this and this and the much. You understand?
Yeah.
And for me, tells me about the level of choices that you made.
100%.
You know, tell me about the level of hunger that you made.
100%.
There's somebody else that is right now, you know, but there's other people that have taken their time, taken their data and this and said, you know what, I'm going to connect to this life and I'm going to learn as much there is to learn,
100%.
you know. So to say the sky is unlimited, guys, you know, you could be a gardener today and you could be a CEO tomorrow.
100%.
So, you know, it all depends on the kind of choices that you make. More than anything, those that have made it or think have made it, guys, remain humble, you know. Always send a rope for somebody else to actually follow.
Yeah.
Or make sure that you uplift somebody else so they can come to become at the level that we at. Because it's very lonely at the top, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You know, and more than anything, I always say to my friends, guys, let's meet at the top because the bottom is overcrowded.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, my brother. You've said a mouthful. I mean, I think me and you, we come from similar backgrounds. I was also born and raised in a squatter camp in Tembisa called Emma Delago Farm. Arguably the most poverty-stricken part of Tembisa. That's exactly where I grew up. Thank you very much, Teboho. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be engaging with you, man, this particular evening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying for over an hour and 23 minutes in this particular live. It's been a pleasure and absolute pleasure engaging with you. This has been a very informative. I've learned a lot. I remain humble, and I always remain a life student, and I continue learning from people. I continue learning from myself. I continue, just seeking knowledge and wisdom from, people around me. I mean, if you find yourself as the smartest person in the room, you are definitely in the wrong room. But also, if you are the dumbest person in the room, you are definitely in the wrong room. So you need to find a bit of balance. People that you can uplift, and also people that can uplift you in your journey of life and of business, of success, of career. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I just want to remind you before we close off to say tomorrow we are closing our property investment fund, the private equity fund that we have the capital raising for. It's been running for a successful 4 months. It's coming to an end tomorrow. Remember, 5,000 rand, a minimum of 5,000 rand gets you in. You can go to www.bizhouse.co.za under the investments tab. That's where your application form, you can find it together with the prospectus there, and you can start becoming a property investor yourself immediately. That's an immediate investment opportunity that I have there for you that makes you an instant property investor within no time, and you get your share certificate starting from next week. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been good, and I wish you nothing but good success, good health, and everything of good value there. Teboho,
they're asking if we're gonna upload this on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna save this on my profile, and everyone can have access into it. I'll ask my team to somehow. I don't know how to. I'm not very clued up when it comes to these technologies and social medias, but I have a team that can assist downloading and putting it on YouTube. I'll actually definitely do that. Please do make sure that you follow Teboho and you follow myself, and make sure that you continue learning. This guy is a well of wisdom and knowledge. If you're not following him, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that again. You are doing yourself an injustice. So there's so much wealth of knowledge that comes from this hot man. I always look at his work, and it's incredible what he has done, what he has achieved at his age. When he says he's comfortable, he is definitely comfortable. So I remain humble, and thank you very much for making time, my brother. It's been good.
No,
Thank you.
no, definitely. Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you to Tandega, and thank you to Emmanuel Bonoko as well.
Yes.
So, because I mean, these are the people that help make this possible. You know, I mean, you see the importance of network.
100%.
You know, to say, I mean, we knew about each other, but we had not connected, and because of people that we know that are within the same circle, they managed to make this possible. So really,
They managed to make
appreciate
it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you to you, my brother, and keep on doing amazing stuff. I'm really hoping that would get to engage. I mean, further.
No,
so I'll also go get the prospectus and also invest. Because I mean, I believe in your dream. I believe in your vision.
No, thank you.
And I mean, like I said, the sky's unlimited. Let's make this happen for a black child.
Thank you so much, my brother. I remain humble. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you, brother Emmanuel and Metandega. Thank you very much for making this happen. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm very excited. I feel like starting the day all over again.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
No, my brother, thank you very much. Have yourself a lovely one, and greetings to your loved ones as well. To you and yours, keep well, and we'll connect on the other side, outside this platform, where there's no much of ears, and but we love you guys. Thank you very much. Have yourself a lovely one. Good night.
Good night.